Hi there, Allison here. Welcome to Travel Stitch video number 43. And if you're new here, I like to keep track of not only my stitching, but I like to keep track of my travels as well. I journal. I have tried to emulate my mom and journal my travels. And so, yes, I have a journal that I took care of after I got back, I have to admit. But I did sit the day I returned, after I returned and had a good sleep, and journaled the 7 days that we were, of course, in Nova Scotia. Our dear friend Laura Lynn of Mom and Pop Quilt Shop has been just so ill with problems with intestines and colon, participating with digestion appropriately, and you can go to her channel and see more about that from her. But she's such a dear friend, and I'm one of her moderators, as is my friend Lois, who traveled with me from Toronto. And we just felt like we needed to go over to our friend's house, get in the car, and help her out. And yes, it involved a couple planes, but we were really super heartsick and stressed about showing some love and support to our dear friend. So that's what we did. And I'd like to share with you what all that was. So our trip was good old Wednesday to Wednesday, March 24th to March 31st. And by the time we got there on May 24th, the day was pretty much gone. All we had a chance to do was get our car, grab some dinner, and drive the hour and 20-ish minutes up to the north part of Nova Scotia towards Pictou. We had to get to an Airbnb in Scottsburn, which is the neighboring town to where Laura Lynn and Kent live in Linesbrook. So I left here at 7 a.m. and got to Toronto, met up with Lois at the gate, and it took us until 7:15 p.m. to arrive in Halifax. Halifax is an international airport, but it's real small, and anybody who you approach with a question is so nice about responding to you. And yeah, where rental cars was just across outside the terminal in the parking area, and super easy to get the car. We got a Volkswagen Tiguan, black one, and I drove. It was super dark, moonless night. And most of the way I wanted my brights on. Super, super dark. And thank goodness for the line along the right side of the road, which kept me where I was supposed to be. We were really, really hungry, and I recognized the off-ramp for Rona Hardware, where when we visited last year in 22, my husband and I had to refill the propane tanks at a hardware store called Rona. And I knew around that Rona there were drive-up malls that had various food sites, and we drove in there. Problem was, when we walked into the food shop that we chose, Pita Pit, it was 9:01, and she had just closed at 9, and she was helping a lady. And the lady said, yeah, I really was, cruising on closing time. We started to back out, and the young lady said, oh, come on, I'll help you. And thank you, goodness sakes. We both got pita bowls with rice, and I got beef, I think. Lois got chicken, and we just sat there and ate it all up. Nearly finished our bowls up. Super appreciated. As we were finishing those pita bowls, guess what? the young lady said, "Would you like a cookie?" Oh, she's like, "No, you don't have to buy it." She'd already closed out, but super sweet. She gave us, I chose macadamia chip, and it was great. And Lois had a cookie as well. So we drove on into not Lionsbrook, Scottsburn, and pretty okay by the Google Maps found the driveway, which was very long, to the Airbnb. And I realized I had parked behind the homeowner. And then when we got inside, I saw on the instructions that we were supposed to drive down on a lower little grass area and then park by the back door of the Airbnb rooms site. It was 2-story. We entered, if you went in the front way, you entered into the little kitchen, and the bathroom was off the kitchen. There was a bedroom, which I had for the week. Very comfortable bed, I will say, and dresser, and it was perfect. And then upstairs, very steep metal stairs that you could tell they had added by opening up the ceiling, was like a room for chilling, watching TV. It was a futon that Lois folded down and used. She even brought her own sheets and blanket and used as her abode, and was able to spread out up there really nice. So we woke, that was the 24th, and we woke up and Lois called me up, said, "Alison, look." And outside the window, there was a mama fox in the driveway with 2 pups that were wrestling and playing. And that was such a beautiful sight. So sweet. Or was that when the fox was on the roof? Well, you're going to see both. So I'll have both of those. We went over to the Sobeys then and got some snacks and some lunch makings. And then to keep it cold, I also bought a little styrofoam ice case so that we could, keep it going. And I had, over the week, just 2 bags of ice that kept, for 3 days, each of them, I think. And we kept our cheeses and our meats, and then in a bag, some bread and some chips and snackies going, so that we didn't have to run out for lunch. And we were able to make boot sandwiches. Very fun. So that was the 25th on Thursday morning. After we had been in Sobeys, the grocery store, there was a, what is it? Why can't I think of it now? Oh, in the grocery store, Sobeys, when we were looking for condiments, mayonnaise and mustard and whatnot, Lois spotted mayonnaise that were flavored with caramelized onion, or I think one had chipotle. Another one had, and Lois helped me, she can write it in, really yummy flavors. And she bought, I think there were 4 she bought, and maybe there were 5 different flavors. And we bought the caramelized onion. Oh, Tim Horton. So then after Sobeys, we went over to Tim Horton for some morning coffee, because I know, the Fulfords are not coffee drinkers, and I needed a good hoot. While we were sitting in the car facing the Tim Horton, we were trying to figure out, all our drive to Pictou area, a back light in the passenger area was on, and we didn't know how to turn it off. So Lois gets in the glove compartment and takes out the owner's manual, and we figured it out. It was a button that was up on the top, right between the visors, and it had a little like sun on it, and we just had to push that, and thank goodness we got it out. While she was reading that owner's manual, the gentleman, 2 tables put together inside the front of the Tim Horton, were, I guess, discussing our goings on in the car. And one gentleman was turned around. It was so obvious they were talking about us and are messing around in the car trying to figure things out. Then we got over to the Fulfords, which is all of 3 kilometers down the road, and pulled in, and huge fun welcome and all. And our first thing was, pardon me, to get the pattern of what we had discussed online, what we were going to do. And that was making a couple of flags. One, so it would face each direction of passersby on the highway. And so we laid out the pattern that Kent had printed. And when all was said and done, and I put little bits of tape here and there with Lois, it was going to work out to be about 6 by 4 feet. And that was not going to do. That it was way, way too big. So Kent went back in and reconfigured and made a smaller, doable one. I think we did ours at 50 by 28 or 35-ish. It did much better for us. So it was going to be able to be a much more compact version of what he had originally printed. Let's see. We spent the afternoon. Then once we got it all, the pattern taped together, we had ripstop fabric that we had gathered together. I think I brought the black and Lois brought the blues, and Kent brought the white. And the white was actually cotton so that it would be a little bit more supported. And then the flag making was the ripstop of the blue, 2 blues Lois had, and I had the black. We then needed to trace our flag pattern that we had taped together onto the fabric so that Lois and I would be able to, Lois did most of the stitching, and then I did the cutting. And the cutting, as Lois described it, as very tedious work. Lois apparently had experience working with a flag making company, and just knew how to layer things and then do the embroidery zigzag stitch, and then you cut away what you don't want to reveal just the parts that you do. With ripstop, it's so easy when you're cutting to snag something up and start cutting where you're not supposed to be cutting. And I found that with my first, I was almost done with the first cutting out of the sewing machine center, and just the last like 4.5, 5 inches, I had gathered up into my scissors and was cutting the wrong thing. So I retraced a 3rd sewing machine onto the black fabric with silver. Oh, I didn't say that we had gone to Atlantic Fabrics after we taped it all together and discussed what we were going to do. We headed over to Atlantic Fabrics near New Glasgow, or in New Glasgow, and picked up a few pieces of fabric off the get it out of here table, I will admit. And I think I have pictures of that in the video. I'll share that with you. Sewing jars with buttons and other notions, thread on shelves, chocolate cakes and treats of various sorts, and my green Alison glass, each a meter. And we got chalk marking pencils, and then silver crayon marking pencil, sharpener. Lois and I both got a thimble. Anyway, all the necessary things, you know. Then we got back and got it taped up. It was a nice, beautiful, I think sunny, not too many clouds, day, so that the light really came in through the window. Each night we were blessed with a dinner over the Fulfords table, and I shared with our Zoomy pack of friends from Mom and Pop Quilt Shop the dinners that Laura Lynn had. In her state of health, she still managed to put together lovely meals for us, and lunches, I gotta say. But the first night we had chicken soup and those boot sandwiches, or was that lunch? I think that was dinner. And then we had Friday French toast, bacon, and fruit, breakfast for dinner. On Saturday, we had pulled pork sandwiches, absolutely delicious. On Sunday, we enjoyed Jungle Jim's. The guys had hamburgers, and I think I had a chicken Caesar that was really, really tasty. On Monday, oh my goodness, Monday we had lobsters that had just been cooked up for us, potatoes, peas, and Laura Lynn's chocolate cake. Yes, it had white frosting, but that did not matter. It was a delicious buttercream frosting. Tuesday, we had a dinner of pork chops, rice, applesauce. I made a green bean salad and the other half of the chocolate cake. I bought up the pork chops, and Laura Lynn can have rice, so I did my mom's recipe of searing the thick bone-in pork chops, and then you put bouillon or stock over them. And my mom would use beef stock, but Laura Lynn is not allowed to have beef. So I found on their Sobeys shelf mushroom stock. So we used that. It had a really good flavor. And then you put your 2 cups of rice in there, put the lid on it, and let the rice cook with the previously seared pork chops. And they came out great. So then our last day on Wednesday, we did share breakfast together, but then Lois and I had to head back to Halifax at about 11. I just wanted to make sure to get back. Okay, so in my journal, where am I? I had Thursday taken care of. And we were on Friday. Friday, we had then the pieces that we could start to sew, and Lois sharing with me the technique of doing the flagging, the layering. We needed to get on board with what machine are we using. So Big Nomi was up on the table, but Nomi had a walking foot attached to her. Because of all the floor installations, we didn't know where her foot selection was. And we saw over on one of the tables another Janome, which we assumed was Janie, but Kent notified us that that's a pre-Janie. And that pre-Janie had a clear plastic foot. I attempted to take that plastic see-through foot off and put it on Nomi, but then we realized the mystery Janome, the earlier Janome, was low shank and Nomi is high shank, and so that was not going to work. We pulled the earlier purchased Janome off the table and brought it over to Laura Lynn's sewing station desk, and it worked just fine. It served us very well. And then folks on Saturday named her Polly because we were talking about the polyester threads that we needed to find among Laura Lynn's collection. We didn't bring thread. And then somebody else said, well, James would be maybe the female version of Janie, a male version. And so I just decided to name it Polly James, or James Polly. I forget what it, oh, Polly James. There you go. I explained all that. Lois got to sewing with the machine, and then on Friday, and I did some, but it was really kind of tough to see through even the clear foot, and I'm not sure if I did too well or if she just really, really liked that process and leave the cutting to me. And I really tried to focus super hard because of my experience the previous day on cutting and do it right. So we had partial of one flag done, and then I think the machine and one mom and pop quilt shop, mom and pop done. So we were able to make some strides after making the first one online on Saturday. We needed to make sure everything was centered. We needed to make sure that tension between the layers of ripstop was gonna work well. So we got that done. Then we get to Saturday and we had our agenda ready to go for Saturday's live. But before we got to the live, we went out to breakfast, and it was Laura Lynn's first time out of the house as a more well individual. And we went over to, was it Rock? Stone Soup. I want to say Rock. Stone Soup Cafe. And it's right there in good old downtown Pictou. Super pretty little street. Looks like you want to just lay out some cones and film a movie in that boulevard. It was super pretty. During the live, when we were given our breaks for lunch and then for dinner, Laura Lynn would break us, and she would come on out to the shop from the house and sit and chat with the live stream going. And it was just awesome to hear her. While the live was going, she had her computer on in her bedroom, and the volume was loud enough in the dining room we could hear what was going on out in the shop through that computer. She was just having such a good time. It was like, this is why we're here. This is why we're here. She is doing way better. And it just felt like normal again with her visiting. The chat in the live was so supportive and so kind. And we just couldn't thank everybody enough for helping us out to help Laura Lynn and Kent. It was real fun during the live. Lois had this scheme of wearing, because I guess she had room in her luggage. She wanted to pack them all, so she wanted to wear them all. So during the live, she wore 6 different shirts, and then at the end, people were allowed to guess how many she wore. And it was so funny because, of course, when people would say, why is Lois in a different shirt? I didn't know she, had a spill. What's going on? We would just avoid addressing those comments during the live. And so finally, then I took my phone and I videoed the chat, and good going, Kathleen Champ. And then a quick, right after her, Gwenny also had 6, but Kathleen was our first one to appear in the live, and that was very fun. After the live ended at 9 p.m., we had some notes for each other, chatted it up just a few minutes, and headed back to our Airbnb for a good night's sleep. On Sunday, we got up and we headed out to breakfast. And that was really nice. Let's see. Saturday? No, we didn't go to breakfast Saturday. I'm sorry. We went to breakfast with them on Sunday. And that was Laura Lynn's first time out. Super neat. So we did the giveaway. Sunday we went to Stone Soup. Oh, and then we came back and stitched for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours in her living room. And then we went back to our Airbnb for a good nap and then came back for dinner. Monday, Lois and I took a day in the car to go out and about, not touristy, but more geological, beautiful areas. So we took Laura Lynn's advice and went over to what was called Park Falls near New Glasgow. We tried and could not locate where the Park Falls was. There wasn't even a place for me to park the car. It was a residential area of large lotted homes. And we did not see or hear a waterfall, but we didn't put down our windows, darn it. After we were not successful with Park Falls, we stopped at a little store and saw they didn't really have handmade goods like said on the sign, but we did see these tubed wrapped soup mixes by Mitchell Soup Company. The lady wanted us to use cash, and so we weren't able to get those. But there's more to the story of those Mitchell soups to come at Whistleberries. After that stop, I put into our Google Maps Melmerby Beach, and that was a beautiful, beautiful white sand beach, really long, but boy, that day it was super, super windy. You're gonna see the shells that we collected and just so fun. We appreciated the open, very clean bathrooms. And I read a little bit about Melmerby Beach, that it is the most popular beach to go to and that is lifeguarded in Nova Scotia. It is formerly known as, I think, King's Head Beach, which they renamed Melmerby. And it during the summer, the water temp can be up to 66 degrees, which a Pacific Ocean girl knows as just right. If it's getting near 70, you're doing well. You're not going to have blue toes and fingers. Very nice. Following our visit to Melmerby, we went to Caribou Lighthouse, which was a good drive through the countryside. And I felt like it was kind of maybe Mennonite or Amish farm country. The barns looked that way, and the organization of the farmland, and then second or third homes on the properties, which I've seen in documentaries I've watched about Amish. Lois and I shared, it was windy again, but we were parked right next to the lighthouse, and we could see, when I turn on my maps, Pictou Island, and then way off in the distance, it was clear enough to see Prince Edward Island. Very pretty. The lighthouse there at Caribou, why is it named Caribou, I wondered. So I got a little bit of information and ran that, and that's going to be my aha lesson of the day about Caribou Lighthouse. Give me a sec. Located on the Northumberland Strait, northwest of the town of Pictou, Caribou is named after the woodland caribou which used to live in Nova Scotia. So woodland caribou. The Caribou Lighthouse, it says that visitors to Prince Edward Island who choose the ferry service over the Confederation Bridge get a free view of the Caribou Lighthouse shortly after departing Nova Scotia. The first lighthouse to be built at Caribou Point was established in 1868 and was a combination dwelling and light tower. The first 10 years, the light's operation was 18 meters of land were lost at that point. A timber crib work ballasted with stone and measuring 18 meters long by roughly 2 meters wide and 2 meters high was constructed in 1877. And I gotta say, when Lois and I were sitting there, we could see different tides happening out in front of us. Waves would come in, and then there was like a slice in the wave that was going, and that must be a wall of some sort out there. And then there was also what appeared to be a rock wall going off in the other direction. So they apparently put up some rock walls out in the surf to protect that part of the island. As we were driving out to that point, it was on a strip of land where you could see for a bit houses had both up on a hillside, both views of the Prince Edward Island and back in a bay area. It was really beautiful. Those were to suppress the erosion, those walls. The protective work was doubled in length the following year, but fighting Mother Nature is, as usual, a losing battle. Winter gales almost totally destroyed the crib work in 1892, forcing the Department of Marine to either rebuild the breakwater or to relocate the lighthouse, and the latter option was selected. Okay, and then it talks about how much they paid to construct another one. Then there was a second lighthouse that was built in 1915, a third Caribou lighthouse in 1971 that features the commonly used design for the time period of a square cement tower positioned in one corner of the one-story flat-roofed fog alarm building. That second lighthouse is still pretty good in still pretty good condition. And it was moved just a short distance down the road and is still used as a private residence. The other family purchased a second Caribou lighthouse. Oh no, the Otter family in 2016. So, and they have displays. The original lantern from the second lighthouse is on display at the Northumberland Fisheries Museum in Pictou. In 2000, and here's why this is my aha moment. In 2007, a 2/3 scale model of the 1915 Caribou Lighthouse was constructed by the carpentry students at Nova Scotia Community College in Stellarton using original blueprints and then assembled by members of the Air Engineering Flight 114 on a pier in Pictou, where it is a part of the Northumberland Fisheries Museum. The lighthouse contains information on the life of a lighthouse keeper and is home to Rip E. Irwin's collection of lighthouse information and photographs. So it has a long history, and in 2016, the one-story portion of the Caribou Lighthouse was demolished, so the home part of it, leaving just the tower standing, and that's what is in our pictures. Alrighty, then after the Caribou Lighthouse and after lunch, we appreciated a drive back and spent some time stitching with Laura Lynn. It was very nice. On Tuesday, we had another treat of a live, and before the live, which for me here at the house is 8 a.m. Back there, it's 1. So we had a chance to go out with Laura Lynn to breakfast again. And this time we went to the East Side Diner or cafe. And it was just right. I had good eggs and I think a waffle. Very nice. I stitched on my bicycle stitch that I've been working on since Laura Lynn had started her Dear Girl. On that same free site, I found a bicycle medallion, or like it's with laurel leaves, and it says bicycle. Almost looks like an Olympic pin. And then I started my Make Today Magical that I'm doing as a stitch along, mystery stitch along with Tiny Modernist. And I started that at their house. Following the live, Lois and I got jiggy with it. And all week we were thinking, those 2 trees in those buckets need to find a home. They're just starting to bloom or sprout their leaves. So we asked permission, and I used a cart that I saw Kent use in the shop, and I wheeled those 2 plum trees over by their driveway on the far side of their home. They have some pear trees between the house and the neighbor and the where they keep the cattle or let the cattle graze. And then so we just followed the line of pear trees and chose 2 spots about 15 feet apart to put the 2 pear trees. And it was pretty easy digging. It's nice, earthy, wet ground, and just made it big enough for the distance of that earth in those pots and got them in. And I was pretty pleased with both the depths entry of the material in those pots. Laura Lynn reported today, as I record this, that they are looking quite happy and thriving. I know that they had some rain since we've been there, so they've been watered in well. I'm so happy for them. We named them. The smaller one is Bonnie, and the larger one is Clyde. Bonnie and Clyde. Then we got back to our Airbnb to pack. On Wednesday, we didn't need to go to head towards Halifax until about 11 because our flights were going to be at 4:15ish in the afternoon. And so we all celebrated our week by heading out to Stone Soup again in Pictou. And that was really fun. And that's where I have some definite pictures to share with you. And that was our week. It was very satisfying and joyous to hear. Oh, so blessed to have good news about Laura Lynn and her health and coming back up and, getting back involved. Being able to eat and enjoy and share food was just such a blessing to have with her. So I hope you enjoy my video through our experience through Nova Scotia or Pictou, Lionsbrook 2023. Thanks for being here and stay tuned. Here we go. I am going to have I've just been so busy. I had a couple middle of the week then to be with my daughter and my granddaughter and babysit Everly. And then I headed out last weekend to StitchCon, and I'll have that experience for you shortly. I'll try to get my act together and get that posted right away. This one, I just wanted to make sure to gather up the photos from Lois, gather up the photos, which Laura Lynn just shared with me today, and I'll do this up right. So enjoy. Thank you for being here. Like and subscribe if you wish. Take care. Before I go, I had some thanks. Laura Lynn gifted some beautiful bracelets, which I wear on my left. And then Laura Lynn, oh my goodness, she made a scarf for Mr. Eric Johnson. And he is going to treasure that when he gets into cold, wonderful travels and have that under his jacket. He just loves it. I forgot to share with you my loot of shells that I had here to share. Beautiful mother of pearl. A lovely worry stone. Another, it's gonna drop sand. Pretty, pretty. Lovely texture. Another worry stone. And then a lovely big oyster. And then we saw on the beach, I think it was there, little green rubber band type things, which we figured are lobster fishermen's little binders, probably. I got this while I was gone from a sale at Missouri Star. They have I cut it open, but they have it taped. Sorry for all the crinkling. Oh! Very nice. It's their celebration. I got this Periwinkle Spring. Looking forward to using it. I also received this from Keepsakes, the threads, and the lovely fabric for, it's called Be Youthful from Twin Peak Primitives, and I believe this is for me to do my Birds of Paradise or Bluebird of Happiness. So I'll get that and share that pattern with you. Thanks again for being here. Bye. The fabric and the threads were for my Be Youthful, Don't Be Afraid, Just Believe sampler through Twin Peak Primitives. So here we are. Nova Scotia is to the east of Maine and to the southeast of New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island is just above it. We flew into Halifax, which is in the center right there, and we're going to drive up towards where it says Truro and New Glasgow to Lionsbrook up there. And it's a trip of about an hour and 15 minutes if we were able to drive at full speed. We know Laura Lynn and Kent through the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop YouTube channel, which Lois and I are moderators for, and we just love our peeps, Laura Lynn and Kent. And they have provided us with a lot of not only crafting, but now social life and friendship through them. We Zoom together as a group of several of us and create together and keep track of each other, actually. So let's see, here we go. I flew from LAX over to Toronto, met with Lois. Hello, Lois. Who flew up from Orlando, Florida. So there's Miss Lois. She is busy sending the picture. Oh, gracious. Ready for our Halifax flight, right?
Yes.
Is the captain behind us, or is that a walk-on guy right over here behind me?
I wonder. It's like a walk-on guy.
Yeah.
straight out.
No.
I guess it's not a rock. Maybe it's a building. He's up on top of it. He's
Oh,
laying
there
down.
he is.
Do you see him?
Yes. Hey, dude. Yep. And there's something on my roof right here. I don't know if it's birds or squirrels or a rat. Hello, little guy. Watching for a bird to catch.
I saw him come across the wood pile, and he was running around in there.
After our grocery run to Sobeys, we headed over to Tim Horton for a good cup of coffee, and we were apparently the subject of conversation at the retired gentleman's table there in the front window. So here we go, Tim Horton coffee, and you got a blended one, right?
Yes, a toffee caramel.
Sausage and egg wraps. So there you go. Getting the pattern laid out and taped together so that we could trace it to the ripstop fabric. Prior to starting this, we had made a run to New Glasgow, a local community, to the Atlantic Fabrics shop. Is it dark enough? And got what we needed. Pasture. Got the face of one looking at towards us, and then there's a little one over there at the right. Oh, now I see the rear end. Everybody's kind of waking up. Bugged by a mockingbird. There we go, more mockingbird action. He just came back.
You pesky little critter, you.
Here's Johnson Campsite, number 1. Love it. Yeah, if I'm given a shovel, I'm just like leaving.
That's like
No, talking it up.
yeah.
Mrs. Fulford. Say
Yes, that's much better.
Yes. Oh, very good. Hello. Hello, Mrs. Quinn. Here's the custom sign frame. We're going to get it done.
Hello. Yeah, how's night? Is it
Oh my gosh. Oh, heaven. Shirts
How
did I
many-
wear today?
Yeah, how many different shirts did she wear today? On your marks, get set, go.
There it is, Kathleen.
Kathleen Champ.
Kathleen Champ with 6.
With 6 shirts. Good.
And this little guy was talking. He's a busy boy.
Solid broken piece, no? Piece that fits?
Sunset at Nova Scotia.
Already down.
Definitely a rough cut.
Yeah.
Rough cut to the, need a nail file or? It looks better than the image on the box
Yeah.
of the puzzle.
Yeah, it does. Look at
You
that.
know you can take a picture of the actual puzzle.
No, I want it with the
All the cameras.
camera.
Yeah.
It's wild. That's not. And I see me in there. How you doing, Lois? Awesome. Let's see, where are we? We're on the beach in Nova Scotia, facing the Atlantic, right? Not the inlet, but we're on the beach, and it's windy. Very windy, very choppy. Woohoo! Right on. Let's do it. Look at I'm shaking the video so good. So here we are. All right, Lois, do the no knife spreading of mayonnaise and mustard. Show us what you got. Woo! You could work it around a little bit more,
There we
Mrs.
go.
Quinn.
There we
Okay,
go.
there we go.
There
There
we
we go.
Perfect.
Okay, now I got to do mine.
Yep.
All right, turn it. Do the twist.
Like a spirograph.
Yeah, like we were talking. Open that puppy up and let's get some
Oh,
ham and
nice.
cheese on there.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, it's time to eat. Oh wait, we have,
We're gonna do chips
I bought cheesy or
and fruit.
fruit and barbecue.
Ooh, nice.
So whatever floats your boat. And here we are at, what is it again?
Caribou Lighthouse.
Lighthouse Point with our boot sandwiches and our cross stitching projects on the side. You can see one's there and there. Thank you, Caribou Lighthouse. moderators. Let's do a cattle check. They've got one bull and a bunch of mamas and about half a dozen calves. Hello. Guys gonna go play? Sorry, Sass. Tom's here, but Brad's not. Hello. Hello. What's that? What's that?
What's that? This? It's a lobster friend.
Hello.
So
Put that there. As many small plates as we do for big plates. So.
All right. So it has white frosting because.
I ran out of cocoa powder.
Okay. Thank you.
Everybody getting out their cameras.
How you doing, Lois?
Oh, I'm in heaven.
Pretty good.
I'm in
Pretty
heaven.
good. We took some time after our lobster dinner to share some info and experience with our Zoom buddies. And here's the next morning when Lois alerted me to the sighting of these box pups playing in the driveway. And there's the mama over at the left, watching, observing. Just gonna sit back down. I thought she was gonna run off. The Airbnb gave us a nice things we could do or what to look for around Scottsburn and Lionsbrook and Pictou area all the way into New Glasgow. And then we discussed that the Trans-Canada Trail goes right across Laura Lynn and Kent's property, and it is incredibly long. We have the Pacific Crest Trail, the PCT, that goes from Mexico to Canada, but boy, oh boy, I think theirs is 14,000 miles long when I looked it up if you did the entire thing. It's amazing. Lois and I both picked up several of these soup mixes at Whistleberry, and here we are taking pictures with the lighthouse at the Whistleberry shop. It was a lot of fun.
There we go.
There we go.
I'll cook them with
You've got it all down.
Well, it's been a while. I'm like, I don't even know if I know how to do this anymore.
Yeah?
That wasn't it. Oh, where's the button?
It's red on the outside. Is it already on?
No, oops. I'm recording. But it's recording to nothing. I'm trying to get the camera down. Probably going to want to see them. So you
Okay.
can show them off today
Okay.
for sure.
Are they already talking?
No,
Oh, okay. That was all.
that was from last room.
European plum, or Italian prune, semi-dwarf. Okay, very nice. Happy tree, happy little baby tree.
Here we go.
Yep. Did our full fruity gardening gift.
Bonnie and Clyde, the plum tree.
Yay! Lois planted that one, and I planted this one. So which one's Bonnie, which one's Clyde?
I'll be
one
Bonnie, she's shorter.
Okay.
This can be Clyde.
Okay, Bonnie's the shorter one, further to the back, and
Yeah.
then the first one in is Clyde.
Clyde, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Very
All right,
good.
Here we go.
Our little house.
How'd you sleep, Lois?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to go home.
Good. It's been a good week.
Oh, it's been an awesome week.
Yeah,
Couldn't ask for anything better.
very nice.
Happy.
Say that again, Mrs. Goldberg.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Very nice. I didn't get you.
Thank you guys so much. Like seriously, thank you. It's been amazing.
Outside, isn't that kind of the work?
Painted rock. Oh yeah, look at this.
So Donna was telling me in one of our mini chats in the hospital that there's actually a ghost girl that wanders the halls here.
Oh,
This used to be a theater at some point in time,
Uh-huh.
and they used to, and she fell down the stairs.
Oh,
no.
gracious.
Yes, her grandfather was.
Hello. Say hi. Where are we, Laura Lynn? Show me that sign, Laura Lynn. Oh, behind you. What is this?
Stone Soup Cafe.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Super-de-doo.
It's a place we usually hang out.
What did you have?
I had 1 egg, bacon, and canned fries and toast.
Very nice. What did you have, Mr. Penn?
I had 3 eggs, bacon, and toasted.
I had traditional Benny, so eggs Benedict. What did you have, Lois?
I had scrambled eggs, bacon, pan fries, toast,
Yummy.
coffee.
All right, our last morning. Picto. Let's film a movie.
That is nice.
Wait, bye. Love you guys. Bye. Woo! Bye, Bonnie,
Bonnie and
Clyde.
Buy our little plum.
Turn right onto Route 376.
Big one's Bonnie. Big one's Clyde. Bye.
Grow big and strong.
Yep. Bye, Simon's house. Wait, what's this, Lois?
It's passenger pickup.
Okay, just turned in the car, and the traffic is terrible. I would have waited.
The man's coming.
Okay. This is just crazy busy. What are we, the first flights of the evening? It looks like, I know it says US, but,
Yeah, this is gonna confuse me.
huh. Maybe that's the way they're gonna check our passports. Okay. Oh, we could go up, no.